Yo, it is your boy, Nice versus Wild, and you're listening to another episode of Bear Wolf Sessions. Thank you for tuning in. Can you believe it? This is session number 79 Mondays in a row. I can't believe it. And if you've been showing up since day one, I just want to say mad love to you. If this is your first time listening and you don't know who the heck I am, my name is Nigel Sashil. I'm a full-time creative entrepreneur from South Auckland. I was born in a rural Fijian village called Lambasa, Bunileka, and my mission in life is to write a story that beats longer than my heart. Now, we're in for a heck of an episode. I've written a bunch of things in my diary, which I'm super excited to share with you guys. But before we dive into those details, I just want to give you guys a quick overview of what I've witnessed and experienced over the last 12 months that's really reshaped my thinking process and some of the key learnings which you can apply in your own journey as a creative, as an entrepreneur, as an artist, or even as a community member listening to these sessions as a change maker. And I think there's a lot of value in these lessons that I've learned in the last 12 months, because I feel like the last 12 months has been a complete change in my own goals and my own career choices and my own relationships and my own direction and the things that I thrive for and the things that I value and the value that I want to put across in this world and the worldview that I want to hopefully get across. And I think one of the most challenging things that I experienced, and I think I talked about it a little bit in a bunch of other episodes, is witnessing my father go through a stroke. Seeing the pain and the suffering when he was going through it reshaped my whole ideas, reshaped my choices, reshaped how I'm spending my time, reshaped my career choices, reshaped what I want to do, and reshaped what I really need to go after. It gave me an opening and the courage to realize that it was always in me to believe that I could do it. And I think sometimes we have to go through these experiences to realize that time is definitely of the essence, but most importantly, not everything keeps moving. And when we realize that no matter what we do, life will keep moving, it's just a wake-up call to realize that, hey, we're not going to get forever to be able to do the things that we really want to do. And no one's going to come here and save you. You have to be able to create this opportunities, create these chances for yourself. And experiencing my dad go through that, I'm so grateful that he's still alive and I get to spend so much time with him now because of the choices and the decision making that I've made. And I think it really just reshaped my whole journey and my own story. That was probably one of the biggest things and probably the number one thing that really reshaped my thinking over the last 12 months. I was also able to establish a 6-figure business in 2 countries in less than 12 months. Now, it's funny what a little bit of time, effort, and dedication can do. After almost 12 years of setbacks, yes, 12 years, finally making some grounds there, and I'm so grateful that I'm able to do that and across 2 countries. And you know, same experience of seeing my father go through that, and you know, reshaping my career choices and what I want to do. I think I was already quite a driven person, but another level of drive kicked in, you know, when I felt like I went through another awakening in terms of what I really want to do and what I want to be remembered for and the value that I want to get across. I was able to do hopefully 79 sessions in a row with a goal of 500. We're still going to get there. The horizon looks bright. 79 Beer Wolf sessions. I'm so proud of that every single Monday, and we're going to keep showing up. That's definitely one on the dot. I was able to do 2 keynote speeches about understanding one's why, and I want to carry this on. I still get super nervous talking to people, to be honest, and I think if we can keep rolling and keep building an amazing community, I think we'll be able to go further. I was able to create the Great South Road running festival community, all about empowering people to move, kids to move, and really live a healthier lifestyle. I was able to work with a bunch of charities across in New Zealand, and we're going to carry that event going into the future. And I was super proud of it, you know, creating community with 0 external government funding, being able to do it and show up for your community it just makes me feel so proud, and everybody involved and connecting the dots. I'm super proud of that. So that in the last 12 months is definitely one of the highlights. Running 70Ks, obviously no one gives a fuck about the distance, but running 70Ks, super proud of it. I'm you know, as we go on this journey, you know, I always like to challenge, I always like to, you know, take it a little bit further in my own mind, and you know, the lessons that I learned while running, I've talked about it multiple occasions. It's undeniably so good that like my mind generates all these ideas while I run, and I'm super, super grateful that I was able to do that. Some of the key learnings from all the experiences that I just talked about is personal development surpasses career. You keep improving yourself, because when you keep improving yourself, the career outcomes just happen. When you just focus on career outcomes and not improving yourself and your own personal development as a human, as a person that interacts, or a person that keeps growing and keeps going through these experiences to build character and being able to adapt to change and being able to adapt to environment changes, if you can build character, that the career outcomes will just happen. That's probably one of the greatest learnings that I can pass on to you guys. Community is everything. Community is the cornerstone of success. Yes, community is the cornerstone of success. If you can build a community, and every day I show up, even for one person that's listening, sometimes it's like 13 people on YouTube, which I'm super grateful for. If you're listening on YouTube, go watch the visuals. Thank you to everybody that's been listening. But community is everything. Even if one person is listening, or 3 people are listening, or a whole million people are listening, it doesn't matter. Keep showing up for your community, because remember, this game isn't about selling out. It's not about compromises. This is no sellouts, no compromises. We're going to show up regardless of how many people watch or listen, because what you are experiencing and what value that you want to put out across to this world is far more important than you not doing it at all, because you only get one shot at this, remember. And also, one of the greatest learnings is adapting to change. I think I talked about this already, but really change does always start within. And I know there's a lot of challenges, there's a lot of sacrifices, there's a lot of problems happening in this world that we've talked about already. And now is the time for you to show your love. And whatever you want to put across into this world, if it has the foundation of love and belonging, you'll be able to make ground regardless of the things that you go after, because the thing that you start may lead to something else. The chain effect will start, but you have to have the courage to start the change within you so you can get moving towards the thing that you truly care about. You can achieve anything in life. Don't let the world persuade you otherwise. All right, you can achieve anything in this life. Don't let the world persuade you otherwise. Turning the impossible into the inevitable is within reach. Okay, don't forget that. So I just wanted to share a bunch of those things before we get into the real details of this week's session. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of an overview of my own experiences, and hopefully it inspires you to get moving. Now, big love to Feature Weddings for sponsoring every single Beer Wool session every single week. Without Feature Weddings, no Beer Wool sessions will happen. And if you've got a friend, family that's getting married, go follow the link. I'll put it in the show notes, and I'll put it on YouTube link, whatever you want to do it. Just go send them that. Shout out to Feature Weddings for keeping Beer Wool sessions alive. Now, point number 1 that I wrote in my diary this week is a story. Okay. In 2011, I finished high school. Yes, you're probably guessing my age. I'm turning 30 actually in 2 weeks. Oh, who's ready for the episode about 30 lessons over 30 years? I'm excited. Okay, that's next week's session. But okay, let's go back to this week's session. I'm going to tell you a story. I finished school in 2011. It was my last year in high school, probably the most important year, and probably probably the year that had the most influence in my thinking process. I was in a class called Media Studies, and I had a teacher called Miss Barner. Big shout out to Miss Barner. And she taught me something that I hold quite dearly to my heart every single day. And probably one of the biggest reasons why I also started the Be a Wolf movement and everything I do in my own life and my personal goals and my career goals and my relationship, you name it. These virtues that she ingrained in me lives to this day. And we're in this class and we learn a lot about storytelling. We learn a lot about, subconscious biases. We learn a lot about stereotypes. But the information and the value that she taught me around the world and why it's so important to, create a life that can create impact on others. And it's not always about thinking about ourselves. It's also about thinking how we can help others. These kind of values as a teacher that you pass on to your students can be, can build such a different thinking process. It can create a sense of understanding, but not only that, I think one of the greatest virtues is she told me the definition of what subconscious bias is, what stereotypes in communities is. We watch like videos around like, you know, what a stereotype is in an environment, or how the media creates stereotypes, or how outlets and communities break out stereotypes and negative stereotypes in communities, and how we judge people, and why we judge people, and how those subconscious biases are ingrained in us, and why we have to unlearn some of our subconscious biases and stuff like that. And I think big love to Miss Bana. In 2011, in my last year in high school, she really told me to write this essay, and I had to do all this research and everything to be able to understand and grasp my learning. And big love to my old high school. I always give them a shout out. But like, you know, it just goes to show that when we realize and understand some of these meanings of these words, it can really reshape our 20s and really reshape our life in terms of the direction we want to go. And every day I wake up, and I've always spoke about it, it's given me such a big why. It's given me such big drive. It's given me such big impact that I want to kind of create in this world. And I know everybody that listens to these episodes, you aren't, you know, everyone's special, and that's been listening to these episodes, because you got a heart, you got a drive that you want to create this kind of impact, and the world needs more of it, especially regarding everything else we've kind of spoken about in the last sort of few sessions. So yeah, really wanted to touch on that, and I think the stories and the learnings that I've had, especially in my last year in high school, really reshaped my whole direction in life as well. Now, second point in my diary I wrote this week is, we cannot judge and influence at the same time. I was in this amazing workshop with one of my mentors, and it just goes to show that he taught me this literally in a session that I jumped in on, is we cannot judge and influence at the same time. And I think there's a lot of value in this, because how can we be great leaders? How can we create a better community? How can we stand up for humanity? And how can we create more love in communities when we realize that we can never judge and influence at the same time? How can we create a better understanding mindset so we can create influence, and so we can, you know, understand people's life experiences before we go into our own subconscious bias? And trust me, I do this, I try to unlearn this all the time, and I think everyone's human, you know, everyone has their own subconscious biases, and I know I do as well. But I think when we realize that we cannot judge and influence in the same time in whatever craft idea that you're doing, or any relationship building task that you're trying to obtain, you must go in with an open heart. You must go in with open intentions. You must go in understanding other people's beliefs, and understand that they haven't lived the life that you've lived. They haven't lived the experiences that you've lived. And I think when we go in with open arms, with intentions of love, and like I spoke about in the last couple of episodes, is if you're ever in doubt in your own decision-making process, just put love in the forefront, and you'll be able to make the right decision regardless of the outcome. So I encourage everybody that's been listening to these episodes to create a mindset where you never ever can judge and influence at the same time. You must let go of the judgment, and you can only influence once you let go of the judgment. Hopefully that inspires, and hopefully that sparked a little bit of light in your mind today to really open up to this world and go after the things that you really care about with those intentions in your heart. Now, the last, probably the biggest point I wrote in my diary this week was, one of my best mate Ben always talks about this, and he said to me, history doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. History doesn't repeat itself, but it rhymes. And I think there's something here in this line. And when we realize that there's a cycle happening, and if we don't have enough of us, you know, standing up for what we believe in, and standing up for humanity, and standing up for service, and standing up for giving, and standing up for openness, and standing up for understanding, and standing up for a world that peace is in the forefront, and everyone has the opportunity and the chance to be able to thrive, regardless of where they're from, and regardless of the color of their skin, and regardless of the backgrounds, and regardless of their belief, and regardless of their religion. And I think when we understand that those are the core foundations of realizing that history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes because we sometimes lack those core foundations that I just spoke about earlier in those other 2 points. And I think this is why it's now or never for you. All right. You need to create and get moving in your own value, in the own things that you want to spread in this world, in the own love that you want to speak across, and the own love that you want to create. Because in order for you to be able to make impact, you first must have the courage to speak the truth in your own heart. And I think when you can do that for long periods of time, you start to create awareness. And when you start creating awareness, you start creating momentum. And when you start creating momentum, you start creating little by little change. And when change happens, worldviews change. They do. At a small scale, at a large scale, at a big scale. But if you don't start, and if you don't speak up, and if you don't create movement, everybody will raise a white towel and no one will help. Okay? And in order for that mindset of not getting your hands dirty because it might be someone else's fight, we need to drop that mindset. All right? Because at some point, even if it might not be affecting you right now, it will at some point. So whatever is happening in this world, and if you feel powerless, trust me, you're not powerless. You can make movement even at a small scale, all right? You just got to keep at it, keep doing the things that you love, keep showing the world love, keep showing the world understanding, keep showing the world what's possible. Give the world hope, give the world energy, give the world the why inside you. And I think if you can do that, you'll be able to create change, not only in your own community, but the whole world and the whole of humanity, because the world needs you. And I promise you the world needs you, especially right now. Hopefully this episode really resonates with everybody listening. A couple of 3 points that I really wanted to deeply share with everybody this week. And I think hopefully that created a new thinking process in your own mind. And hopefully, everything that I've experienced in the last 12 months as well, that I spoke about at the start of the session, gives you a little bit of insight, behind my driving factors, behind my decision-making process, behind why I do what I do. And obviously I hate, I'm one of those people, deep down, I'm like, shit, I don't really give a shit about the wins, but I feel like sometimes you have to speak about it so you can build some sort of credibility, so that, I'm just not showing and talking out of my ass, if that makes sense. So yeah, hopefully this inspired. Keep doing what you're doing. And I will keep showing up every single Monday. We're going to get to that 500, and we're going to get some amazing guests on, that's for sure. Thank you for listening. Thank you for showing up. I'll catch you guys next Monday. If you've been enjoying these sessions, make sure you chuck us a review. Keep sharing it to a mate. Share it to a mate that's struggling. I've been speaking to a lot of friends, actually, and they're like, man, I wake up every morning and I feel so helpless, with everything going on in the world, seeing feeds of fight, trauma, and hate, and so much pain in this world, and it really affects their brain. And I think when we realize that we do have the power, so I encourage you to just share this message across and share this video to everybody that might be struggling, or somebody that's like, man, I don't know what to do with my life. Everything just feels like a shithole. This is the episode for them, and hopefully it can help them to get moving and find their own why as well. So yeah, peace and love. Keep going. Keep being a wolf. I'll see you guys next Monday. Let's go.